I just got back from the most amazing weekend. And I think everybody needs to do this in one form or another. It doesn't have to be on the level that I did it, but I think this is critical for your midlife sanity in all aspects. Now, it wasn't just the boys and I. What the boys and I did was we rented a really nice house close to where we live. It was literally only half an hour away. And here's why we did that, because we wanted to make sure that all the members of the family could make it. So it wasn't too far for my aging parents, and it wasn't too far for my nieces and nephews that are working, or, they're busy young people. They have lots of plans, or for my teenage kids. So we picked something that was really close so that the majority of the people could make it. Now I'm talking, it was my parents, it was me and my boys, it was my two brothers, and then their children. So it was all of the immediate family. And we did this last year too. And here's why. I am now, as probably are you, in this sandwich generation. That means that we are the ones who have kids that still need help and parents that now need help. And I have to be honest, I feel super blessed because my kids are very independent. They need minimal help. And my parents are also very independent. They are in really great health. But having said that, they are all of a sudden old, if you know what I mean. Like my mom, I worry about her balance because we don't want her to fall. And my dad has more ailments coming up. And they're tough as nails. These guys are super healthy, and they do activities every day. They go swimming, they play golf, and they garden. So they're really healthy, but they're 85. They're getting up there. So in my mind and in my boy's mind, we want to make sure, this was my thinking. I want to make sure that I don't have any regrets, because we know how this ends. We know what's going to happen. And I don't want to get to that point where there's a big change and I have this regret of I should have done more for my parents, or the main one is like, I should have spent more time with them, because we live close. We're not far away. But I know that the most important thing to my parents is family. And my mom was an only child. So for her, having three kids, she just lives for when we get together. And that lady loves to cook. Like even now, she used to cook Sunday dinners all the time. And even now she's cooking birthday dinners and all that kind of stuff. Like it brings her great joy. As a matter of fact, when we were away for the weekend, I'm like, we're going to take care of all the food. And what I did is order food in because I don't like to cook. And I don't want to be away on vacation and be cooking for people. But my mom just has to make something. And so she made all the pies for my dad's birthday because she loves to cook. And I'm like, hey, if that works for you. And then my older brother was like, no, we're cooking one night, because they just have to do that. That's how they feel like they're contributing, and then they feel good about showing up. So it's like, hey, if you want to do that, you go for it. By the way, we had the best barbecue ever. It was so good. But we want to make sure that everybody has a good time. There's something for everybody, but we're connecting. So I want to make sure that I don't have any regrets about the time I spend with my parents, the connection I have with my parents. I want to make sure that I just do all the things I could do before it's too late. That's why, in midlife, these are other things that get put on us. These are other things that we are dealing with. And we ended up having the best weekend. And I find that I'm the one who I like to organize fun things to do. Like I want to play charades. I want to do the cookie thing where you try to get the cookie down your face into your mouth the fastest. Like I want to do those fun activities because I just love doing that kind of stuff. So I get to be like the Julie McCoy and organize all the fun activities because that lights me up. And we went for a walk, and my dad is super slow because he had a hip replacement, all these things, but he just loves to go for a walk. So we just went for a slow, meander down to the beach. It was just amazing. And everybody got to have deeper conversations and connections, like getting to know people deeper, like my brother's partners and, my nephew's fiance. Like those type of connections are just so priceless. And this is why have been doing this every year, to make sure that I don't have any regrets when the time comes that my parents aren't here anymore. And this is really special for me because we did celebrate my dad's birthday there. And as we sat at the table, he just looked at me and said, "This is so special." And, a tear was running down his cheek. And he's not a crier. He's not an emotional person. He is not one to express his emotions. Now let's get into it, because we all have parents, and our parents, this is what I know for sure, our parents do the best they can with what they have, because when you become a parent, you realize that that's what you're doing. You're doing the best you can. You don't start out going, "I'm going to mess these kids up." No, you just show up the best you can. And it's not until later that kids understand why you did what you did. And for my mom and I, we were always super close, like super, super close. I love my mom dearly. She's like my best friend. She knows me the best. Except for that short period of time when I was 16, and I just turned on her like a rabid dog. And she's like, "You stop treating me like a teenager you don't like." And it was sheer hormones. That's all it was. Like turned me into the biggest biatch, only against my mom, which is horrible because that's the one that's there for you all the time. Like she's there no matter what. But it was a short period of time. And I'm like, what happened? I was obsessed, but it's hormones. Now that I know all the stuff I know, it was me going through a hormonal change. Sorry, Mom, love you. So she's so kind and forgiving that, she got over it pretty quick. But my dad and I had a different relationship. Now, I'm the youngest, and I have 2 older brothers, so I'm the only girl. And I was very athletic growing up, so I loved to play all the sports. So I was a daddy's girl. Like my dad loves sports. He loves watching sports. He loves coaching sports, all the stuff. And so I was a daddy's little girl. And then I turned into a woman, and something happened. And I know the turning point was when my mom, so she was kind of the age that I am now, started to go traveling like I'm doing now, which is so funny. And there was a time when she went to England. She went for a long period of time. And my mom is very much someone who takes care of my dad. So it's old school. And I am not of that mindset. I am like, you're a grown-ass man, you can take care of yourself. And that's how I raised my boys. I raised my boys to be able to take care of themselves and do all the stuff themselves and not depend or expect somebody else to do it for them. Like I taught them how to do their laundry when they were 7 or 8, because it's like, it's your laundry. So when my mom went on her vacation, I said, "No, I'm not cooking for him. I'm not doing his laundry. Like he can do that himself. That's not my job." And so in that time period, there was a shift. There was a shift in our relationship when I became like an independent woman and all that. And what I realized now, because growing up, I didn't know all the things that I know about now about human nature and all of that. And so I struggled with my relationship with my dad. And here's why. Now, when I look back on it, I know. Here's why. Because love languages. Like I just wanted my dad to tell me that he was proud of me. I love you and I'm so proud of you. And those words never came out of his mouth, not because he wasn't proud of me and that he didn't love me, but he just never showed his love that way. His love language was acts of service. So this is the guy who would come and fix my car, or this is the guy who would come and put flooring down in my gym or my studio. This is the guy who would come and unplug my sink. He is there no matter what. His amazing dad. Like when I look back on it, his family is so important to him. His family means everything for him, and he did all the things. And in his generation, in his mind, it's like providing for his family. That was his job, to provide for his family. And so he did a great job of that. And here I am just saying, like, I just want you to tell me that you're proud of me. That's all I'm looking for. That's all it was. But that's not even on his radar. And so we kind of went like this for a while, like not really getting each other. And I was mad about it. I'm like, why can't you just, I want you to see me. I want you to appreciate me. And so in my wisdom, the way I am, I'm like, let's go for coffee. And I sat down and I started to have these conversations with him like, Dad, I just need you to say the words, I love you. And he's like, okay, he doesn't get it, but he's like, okay. And it took him a long time. And now at the end of our conversations, I'm like, I love you, Dad. And if he doesn't say it back, I'm like, I love you, Dad. And he's like, yep, I love you too. And it started with, when my boys were little, they would say, love you, Papa. And he'd be like, yep. And I'm like, Dad, the boys just told you that they love you. When they say that, you want to say it back. That's what they want to hear. And so we've retrained him so he can learn new tricks. And hopefully, and I feel confident that he understands why that's important to us. Just saying, I love you, or saying, I'm proud of you, or expressing your feelings. And I really felt like, because my dad is great at telling stories, and I say he's always on send, like he's always telling a story and that, but he doesn't really ask me questions about myself, or he doesn't ask questions. He's just telling stories. It's part of his charm. He's really good at telling stories, and he's got a memory like an elephant. Like he can tell the best stories and with crazy detail from a million years ago. But when I'm with him, I'm like, I just want to talk about stuff that, I like to. I just don't want to listen to you talk. I want to have a conversation. And so I direct the conversation when I'm with him, because then it's more enjoyable for me, because otherwise he'll just go off on a tangent. So when I spend time with him, it's like, hey, let's go for coffee and we'll have conversations. And I remember just saying to him, I feel like you're missing out, like you don't know me or who I am, just because he doesn't ask questions about me. So I asked him this question. I'm like, Dad, what's my purpose in life? Like, what's really, really important to me? Why am I here? What? And he thought about it for a second. I'm like, see, he doesn't know me. And he said, to help others. And I'm like, oh my God, my heart melted in that moment, because even though he doesn't ask the questions or do the things, he is paying attention. He does see me, and he can see my heart, because that is my mission in life, is to help others, to help people 100%. So when he said that, my heart melted, and I'm like, okay. And so this is how I redefined my relationship with my dad, and I'm able to get what I want out of the relationship with my dad. And I'm sharing this because I feel like we all have parents, and there's always weird dynamics or interesting dynamics, but I feel like we can create the relationship we want if we are good with communicating and figuring out what you need, and then asking for what you need. And that allows us to go on these vacations and have a really good time together, because I know that when the time comes, I don't want to have any regrets with my parents at all. I want to spend the next however long connecting with them, doing fun family things, getting everybody together, because I know how important that is to both of them. Like the past couple of years, I've seen my dad cry or tear up more than ever in my whole entire life. And as a matter of fact, when we were having dinner and they were talking about how lucky they were, my mom kissed my dad on the cheek, and I'm like, they never kiss, they don't hold hands. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just so sweet. This is just so wholesome. I love this. This is what it's all about. And everybody had a great time in their own way. And when you have this, house, people can go on walks, or people can go, there was a pool and a sauna and a hot tub, and there was something for everybody. And you could come for the whole weekend, or you could just come for a short period of time, and you didn't have to do anything except just show up and interact, get to know your family better, reconnect, because everybody's so busy doing all these things. And that's when I wanted to share this story about my weekend trip with my family, because how can you connect even deeper with those people that are important to you, so when the time comes, you don't have those regrets? How can you deepen that connection? And it starts with, like, as a midlife mom, remember, we're always used to doing for everybody. But what I want to encourage us to do is do for ourselves, like put ourselves first. And then everybody benefits from that. When I'm happy, when I'm healthy, when I feel like I'm living my best life, I show up better for everybody all the time. And that's what we want to relearn as a midlife mom, as a woman in midlife, letting go of her kids, taking care of parents, or letting go of parents. And here's one thing that really, struck my heart. When we were on a walk, both I'll call them sister-in-law, even though they're not married to my brothers, but, long-term relationship. So my sister-in-laws both were talking about the struggle of losing both parents, because then you feel like you're an orphan because you don't have that family, even though they were older and they had bad health. That's not what we remember. We remember them being our parent, them taking care of us. And just to have that, they were expressing, like, just to know that they're there. You could pick up the phone and call them whenever, just to have that. Actually, one of the sister-in-laws said, it's like having a roof, you have that roof over your head. And it's just always there. Maybe you don't need it, or you don't always notice it, but just having it there means everything. It brings you that comfort. It brings you that feeling of connection, or being taken care of, or family, or whatever it is for you. And then one day that roof disappears. And that's the toughness. That's the part of life that gets really hard, is letting go of that, because your whole life was like that. So if you're in your 50s, like 50 years you've had this roof over your head, this roof of dome of protection, or whatever it is your relationship is with your parents. You've had that for 50, 60 years. And so you identify with who you are based on that. And then when that changes, when that roof disappears, that can be another who am I in the world? Like, oh my gosh, I'm alone, or whatever that feels like. Just like when your kids dump you, or your kids break up with you, your kids go out on their own. Who am I if I'm not, Phoenix and Santos's mom? So we have so many identity crises when we hit midlife, and we're so busy trying to figure all this out, that I want to encourage you to take the time to really figure yourself out. And working with a coach can help you do that. That can totally help you feel like, I'm lost in so many ways for so many reasons. Where do I start? Because you don't have to be like every midlife mom is going through this in some way, shape, or form, because we all have different relationships. We're all at different levels, but we all can understand. So you want to surround yourself with people that understand what you're saying. You can be talking about your story and they're like, I feel ya. I hear you. I'm going through it too. And I'm going to hold space for you. And that is what I'm creating with my Mastering Midlife membership. You have got, if any of this resonates with you, you have got to join the membership. I have a 5-day challenge coming up September 9th, so you can join that. You can join the membership anytime you want, but you could do the free challenge first and understand like what it's all about. Community. I believe that the world needs more community. And I also believe that midlife women are such a powerhouse in the world today. but we want to step into our power of kindness and compassion and hearing and understanding and bringing people together and love and connection. Oh, we're so good at that. And once we put that out into the world as our superpower, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So remember, go out there and do all the things while you still can. Have no regrets about your relationship with your kids, with your parents. Like really, ask yourself this question. If somebody, passed away or wasn't in my life tomorrow, what regret would I have about my relationship with that person? And there's your answer. Go fix that. Go do that. Go create that while you still can. And hug those people that you love around you, because time is precious. This life that we have been gifted is over in the blink of an eye. So let's stop wasting it being stuck. We know the answers. Follow your heart. Go live a big, huge, amazing midlife and make a difference in the world. And it all starts by loving yourself first, loving who you are exactly as you are, and then going out there and chasing big, scary dreams. Because if you can think it in your brain, you can create it in your life. This is possible for you too. Thank you for listening. Always, always, always love yourself first and have an amazing day.